morning, guys, and welcome back to the Now Morning Show, your Tobago Thursday edition, as we get ready for the Trade and Investment Convention 2025, the Caribbean's premier multi-sectored international trade show. And this morning, we are speaking to Tricia Beckles, the Manager of Strategic Business Development in the Division of Finance at the THA, to find out what the THA will be presenting at this year's TIC. Tricia, good morning and welcome to the Now.
Good morning, Anka. Thanks for having me, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and your wider audience. It's always a pleasure to be on.
Well, it is always a pleasure to have representation at TIC because it is an exciting time with buyers, sellers, and everybody in between getting involved. But each year there has to be some sort of reinvention, if you will, of each brand as they present at TIC. Tell us this year what the presence would look like. What is going to be the THA Pavilion for 2025?
The THA Pavilion is going to come firstly under the theme of redefining the possibilities. There's always a lot of conversation regarding Tobago and what our potential is. And we've had a lot of success over the years. And now we want to present a concept that there's a lot more to Tobago than you think. And we reserve the right to show you what we can do that you may not have thought about. So there are a lot of creative ideas that will come to the fore in some of our presenters this year. You have a lot of new ones. We have actually cosmetics. We have your beauty products, your perfumes, and different scents. Some of those that you may have seen before. And we also have innovations even in agriculture and how you do agriculture this year. What you do with the sargassum that, typically it's a nuisance for a lot of people. But now we are saying this is what can be done with it for sustainable environmental protection as well as profit to communities and to entrepreneurs. So it's a wide and nice variety. This year we have 15 presentations of SMEs as well as two of our special purpose companies, and we are looking forward to it. We will see what we can do, and we will show you the potential that Tobago has. And this is just a small representation of what we are doing in this space.
Well, it sounds fantastic because in terms of the theme, fleshing out that concept of things we haven't seen from Tobago before, cosmetics and beauty is sounding fantastic. But the innovations in agriculture could certainly benefit both islands. So this is some exciting stuff. Tell me a little bit.
And they've actually been contacted up the region already. So TIC is just another platform for them to kind of expand what they're doing.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit as to how the selection was done for these 15, plus the special purpose companies that are going to be present, since it really is a smaller number. How did you guys go about selecting them?
This is actually our largest presentation. We typically do around 14, 15 of the SMEs. What we typically do, we have a 4-page application form that forces SMEs to take a closer look at their business, not just what they do, but what are their projections for their business? How do they see themselves going about it? How do they need to align themselves, and what do they need to put in place? And how would they handle having a large order coming out of TIC? How soon will it be to, be able to fulfill that large order? So the typical application forms, and yes, we got some kind of traction to say, well, hey, why is this so hard?
Right.
But we really want to take SMEs to a place where it's not just about selling, but it's about positioning yourself. So coming out of that application process, we had a couple of sessions with them, with our business coaches, where they were able to expand a little more. And then they said, listen, this is how we want to present at TIC. So that whole process of continuous engagement over a couple of months, then we narrowed it down and we asked them to put together like a visual presentation as to what they would want to have in place so that we can see what they're thinking. And then from their engagements and what they had done during the process, we were able to do a scoring system and narrow it down.
Sounds like you definitely had to employ some sort of scoring system because you have a pretty nice crop of persons coming through. Tell me a little bit then about these typical opportunities, because you've already expanded on how the process itself forced them to look more closely at their business. But coming out of TIC itself, what are some of the opportunities that the participants are hopefully going to derive?
Well, if we go by what has happened just coming out of last year, for example, we now have persons that have their products in the duty-free shops. We've had persons go to, and these are actually persons who exhibited at TIC for the first time last year.
Nice.
So they are now at established outlets like your True Values, your food halls, your Extra Food, some of those larger establishments that may have been harder for them to get into. We have now, with our continued partnership with TTMA, are now participating in those trade shows around the world. So they've been to Guyana most recently. They're looking at going to New York. They've done the World Travel Market. They've done the show in Beijing last year as well. And I think one of the greatest things we can point to as a success, one of our SMEs who has been part of our experience over the last few years is now at a place where he rents 2 of the large booths, not from us, but from TTMA directly at his cost. He now trades up the region. He now is looking at going beyond that and is also making opportunities for others to come into his space.
Excellent.
So the TIC tends to represent for us that way where the conversations start and the work begins after TIC. So we bring them in right after TIC, a month after, to find out, okay, how have you followed up? Because we emphasize follow-up. And how have you followed up? What do we need? How can we help you in taking advantage of the opportunities that we know will come or have come as a result of TIC? And then we start to work with them in terms of maybe liaising with your stakeholders, liaising with your agencies that can provide that additional support, understanding that THA doesn't have all the resources that we may want to have. And I'm really thankful. I'll put a plug here to say I'm really thankful for the emphasis of our secretary and our administrator in really getting this to another level. And so the things that need to be put in place following the follow-up, the information that comes in the follow-up, we start working on that with them to ensure that they are able to access the opportunities that arise.
Well, Tricia, it really sounds like you guys are ready for TIC, even already in postmortem, since you're getting calls up the region for the innovations in agriculture. So hopefully, when we check in with you guys a month or 2 later, we'll get some feedback on that as well. Congratulations in advance.
I look forward to reporting because I know it'll be great.
It sounds that way. Of course, we're going to be seeing you guys, but if anybody was interested in patronizing the booths, connecting with you guys, any sort of contacts you want to share with us this morning, or a booth number that's known already?
The booth numbers you have from booth 104 to 121.
Nice.
So there are 18 booths in all. It's right in the middle of the exhibit. So regardless of the entrance that you take to get into TIC, we are right in the very middle. It's the largest single collection of booths there, and you'll see it's a nice white structure, basically white, but captures a whole lot of Tobago. If anybody needs to reach out to any one of us, one of the main planners, you can touch base with me, Tricia, at 360-4845, or Colleen at 360-0605. I'm much better on WhatsApp, but you can always shout me. I'm good at returning calls that I miss.
That is the key there. You and I both. But for now, thank you for taking this call and making sure we are up to date on the TH's presence at TIC this year. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Anchor. Thanks for having me. Have a great one.
An absolute delight. Tricia Beckles, the Manager of Strategic Business Development for the Division of Finance at the THA, telling us the exciting things that are coming to the TIC from the THA here on the Now. Guys, we've got more excitement after these messages. Stick around. Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago.